Still sitting in a truck seat that's older than your favorite pair of work boots? Your back has been filing complaints for years. If your seat is worn out, sagging, or just plain uncomfortable, it's time for an upgrade. Head on over to seatspecialist.com. Check out their selection of quality replacement seats built to keep you comfortable mile after mile. And don't forget to use promo code TR10 4U to save 10% on your order. Seatspecialist.com, because a better ride starts with a better seat.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to That's Delivered. I'm your host, Trucking Ray, and today we have a special guest with us. We're going to do something a little different where we talk to someone and to get their perspective on what it's like to get their CDL. His name is Joshua Bernal. He's fresh out of CDL school, just stepping into the wild and exciting industry that we all love. And wanted to bring him in because I think it's important that we hear what it's like to go through the process right now. Not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, but right now. And there's a lot of people out there that may be thinking about getting their CDL, going into trucking, maybe unsure, wondering what it's the first steps like. What is it really like today? And we're going to hear from someone who's just done that, who's lived through it. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Beautiful day over here in Wisconsin.
There you go. Not that far from Minnesota, man. So I appreciate that. You know, I got to get out there and see it for myself, get out of the studio and check it out. And nothing like good weather, right? So
yeah. We got a little bit of rain out here. So, springtime, we need a little bit. It's a little brown. Get it to look green around here. So it'll be great.
Absolutely. So congrats on getting your CDL.
Thank you.
That's no small thing, man. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Coming on the show and talk about what it was like. Just kind of get us started. Before trucking, what were you doing? What was it like for you when you decided to take this path?
So before I got into trucking, I got a college degree and working in a field that I was in for a long time, community health education. So really worked for the Boys and Girls Club for a long time, really bought into that. And then, started working for other centers, kind of helping my community live a better quality of life. So really, really cool experience. I really enjoyed it, but you work in nonprofits, you work in education, you kind of get capped out on how much money you can make. So at the same time, you tend to care a lot about people, and you kind of get what they call compassion fatigue. You kind of get burnt out on trying to help people all the time, and sometimes people don't want to help themselves necessarily. So that's kind of where I came from. I'm from St. Paul originally. Moved down to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and then to Austin, Texas to start a couple Boys and Girls Clubs and the housing projects down there. So pretty cool experience. Definitely a different background than most people would expect.
Awesome, man. Thanks for your contribution, man. That's huge. And we need more of that. And I think as time goes on, maybe there'll be more opportunities for things like that. But right now, everything costs so much, right? Was trucking always something that in the back of your mind? Is that more of a recent decision?
It was a really, really a recent decision. Moving to the area that I moved to, there's a lot of factory jobs out here. I'm not a farmer. I'm from a city, just kind of making the decision, like, do I want to stay around the salary I was making, or, can I save for retirement? Can I retire someday? Kind of looking at like what the economy looks like right now. Like, I need to make some money. And I need to stash some money away so that one day I don't have to work for my entire life.
Absolutely. I can echo those same words, man. I appreciate that. Was there a moment that, something specific that made you say, all right, I want to go get my CDL?
Really, my wife is a great partner, and we kind of just looked at all the jobs and the job markets together. We looked at a few things. I have a lot of experience, a lot of different varied experience, home restoration, things like that. And, getting into sales, like doing roofing sales. And I did that for a little bit, but it was really cutthroat. It was kind of a dog eat dog mentality. In the office that I was in, it was a sales order, restraining order. But here in Wisconsin, people kind of have the attitude of doing it yourself. So, it wasn't really a good fit. You know, stressing me out, as you know, pulling my hairline back, and you know, I wanted something that was going to be more consistent, because when November hit, people stopped even considering putting a roof on their house. And yeah, so like I looked at trucking. You know, I have a clean driving record. Fox Valley Technical College is where I got my certificate from and got my CDL from, and they have an outstanding program. One of the I would say it's probably one of the best in the country, right down the street from where I live at. And you know, the opportunity to do that presented itself. You know, and so looking at the job market is really what my wife and I did, and just saying, you know, this is a very blue collar area. There's factories all over the place. Like, either I'm going to be a dude that's, you know, just hitting it hard every day, breaking my back in the factory, or I'm going to be a guy that, you know, drives around, and I like driving. So it was a good fit.
Nice. Yeah, it's a cool area. Fox Valley area. I actually familiar with that. I lived there for some time. So yeah, that's cool with JJ Keller and all that. I mean, they definitely set up a nice program, and the curriculum too. I know some of the people behind that with Rojas, and I think that's really good that you pursued that, and also that's available in your community. So great job. Did you have any drivers in your family or anyone that you knew of that was in the trucking world?
Well, my best friend, Matty G, you know, since about the 8th grade, he and I have been, you know, on the phone, part of each other's families, you know, over at each other's dinners, over at each other's houses, you know, whatever the case was, you know, growing up together as kids and then growing up together still as adults. He was a trucker, and he always liked it and loved it. But my great grandfather, he actually worked for Swift, you know, I think back when they first started making trucks. So yeah, he worked for Swift a long time ago, but that never really piqued my interest in it. You know, it just kind of was in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, he worked for Swift, you know, like, you know, he made a way for his family by working for Swift and trucking. So kind of cool. But yeah, Matt Gatlin definitely had given me that kind of like, hey, you know, this is a good paying job, and you know, I'm doing really well now because of it. So, you know, it was a little bit of influence there.
Nice. Yeah, it's always good to have people in your corner, especially when you're making life-changing decisions. How do you go about picking the school? I know, is there other schools in the area? Walk me through the process.
You know, I didn't really, you know, there are a few in the area, but essentially the cost of going to the technical school was, you know, the kind of the biggest draw. You know, it was a little over $2,500 with some other ancillary, you know, like testing and licensing and those kind of costs on top of it. But I knew a kid that was going to a different school that kind of fit his work schedule, and it was closer to 6,000. So, I mean, it was really like, you know, okay, I could do that because I was working at the time, or I could, you know, really make a plan, put all my eggs in that basket, make a focused attempt to just, you know, because when you go to the JJ Keller track in Fox Valley, it's full time. You're Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you're doing it the whole time. So yeah, I think the cost essentially, and reading the reviews and kind of the job placement too on the website, because the school kind of gives you an idea of like, hey, this is what you could make when you get done here. And yeah, that's kind of how I made that decision.
Nice. Great job. What was the first day like on class? I mean, were you excited, nervous, a little bit of both? What was a mixture?
Nervous, didn't really know what to expect, but you know, it was like drinking through a fire hose. You know, they just are pushing so much information on you all at once. You know, and you think you're gonna like maybe read a little bit and watch some videos or whatever. You don't really know what to expect, but they had us in trucks the first day, like, you know, and that was kind of like, oh man, I'm not really ready for this, but you know, it's time to get ready. You chose to do this, so get ready. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was like so much information all at once, because they want you to learn all the safety stuff. They want you to know the truck, you know, and really it was like, hey, we're going to do this pre-trip inspection every day. So, you know, this truck, you know what to look for. So like that pre-trip inspection is so much information. It was just like, I felt like I needed a nap after about 45 minutes of learning, because I was like, this is so much. I need to take it in and let my brain process it.
Yeah, I remember some of that myself too, man. So it's not just you. Yeah, it's that pre-trip, and I mean, you never seen some of those things before. They're not on a car or just your common truck, four-wheeler truck. So yeah, it's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of things that you get to understand over time. Even as you're still trucking for years, you're still like, hey, asking questions. So that inquisitive mind of yours, let that continue to go, and let that continue to learn. That's great. What were some of the tests like that you took? Did you have any endorsements that you took right off the bat that you say, hey, I'm going to put this under my belt? I know there's quite a few endorsements, or did you just do the basic start?
I did the basic start. Definitely, kind of, it was a 8-week program. So looking at the different endorsements, kind of thinking about that, like, what am I going to do for a job when I get done? And then making the decision based on that. So yeah, I just got the combination, got the permit, just the basics of what I had to do on the permit. And then, decided that I was going to not have any restrictions and learn how to double clutch and shift on a truck. So that way I could pretty much drive anything they put in front of me, and then went from there.
Nice. Great job. Let's talk about the road test. What was the experience like for you there?
Well, honestly, I was very nervous. You practice and you practice and you practice for 8 weeks. We drove every day. We got to back every day. We essentially got to, go through our test, and our instructors walk us through the test. But I was pretty nervous. One of my driving instructors recommended chewing gum, which I did, but I think that even made me more nervous. I'm sitting there, kind of going crazy with it. But I failed my first road test. I couldn't get slowing down to come to a roundabout. I couldn't get into gear, and so at the roundabout I came to a complete stop just to clutch in, get into gear, and go. And that's considered obstructing a roadway. So that was an automatic failure from that. But then I got rescheduled for a week later and passed it the second time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, you didn't give up. You didn't let that discourage you. I mean, those roundabouts on itself are just that's something else. So great job. That's awesome, man. I like that experience, and the fact that people think, hey, if I didn't make it the first time, then I'm not as good. That's not true. That actually shows that you have more determination to get that completed. So yeah, I'm proud of you, man. Good job, man. So. Yeah. And was there anything that caught you off guard as far as the school, or that you anticipated something that you also want to highlight?
Yeah, the double clutching, I probably hadn't driven a stick shift car since I was 16. Like, they're pretty much out. So learning how to do that and like double clutching on a truck, I think that was a bit of a surprise. And then I think also all the laws and safety regulations, like, it's a lot of information to take in. I didn't understand how much was in front of you to learn before they would say, hey, you're qualified to do this. And even at the same time, like, starting a new job, they're like, hey, do you really know this and understand this and why this is? And I think that really took me aback a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, that's true. Like, you get the license and everything, and then there's still more to learn right off. Each company does it a little different, and they also have their own training process. So yeah, that's true. Now that you've got your license, you look back on the whole experience. Do you think there was anything that could have made it smoother? Let's maybe help those professionals get that perspective from you as a student.
I talk, going through a new orientation at a new job and hearing the experience from other guys that are just coming into the field and into the industry like I feel like I was very blessed to go where I went to school. Like, we had many different drivers, instructors from all sorts of backgrounds with different experiences, like yard spotters, local guys, regional guys, over the road guys. I think they all did a really good job. But we had a couple instructors that were really tough on you, like almost to the point of yelling at you while you're driving, not making the situation, they were with the best interest of you, the driver, in mind. But some people might react differently to that. Like me, I kind of become shut down if somebody's like screaming and yelling at me. But I feel like I had a better experience because a lot of guys that I talked to just in my orientation for my new job, they paid $5,000, $6,000, and all they did was sit in a truck and test for prepare for a test, prepare for exam. They didn't get to back in the truck. They didn't have equipment that worked. And I feel like that was really a disservice to them because, we're starting a new job and, the safety guys, the safety instructors at our job site is like, hey, have you ever backed before? And they're like, what? No, I've never driven this truck before. What do you mean? And they had to prove it, So I feel like, there are a lot of people that offer driving instruction, but you want to be diligent about their background. Like, what are you really getting for your money? Are you just preparing for a test, or are you actually preparing for what you're getting into for real?
Yeah, nicely said. I think that resonates for a lot of people because there's so many different schools. Are we just passing a test, or are we actually learning to drive? And I think that's a huge thing that you also are able to see that, So where did you end up for landing a job, if you want to disclose that?
Yeah. I'm with Paper Transport Inc. in Green Bay. I am considered a consultant, but I'm a yard spotter at Georgia Pacific. So I moved about 50 trailers on Friday last week. So we were moving. Yeah, we were cooking that day.
That's amazing. What city is that in?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
It is in Green Bay. Okay, I didn't know if it was just the name of the company. All right. Wow. Yeah, that's a big yard too, I think, right?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, I did a satellite view on Google Maps before I went, and I was very surprised on how big it was. But it was impressive, and like, oh man, I got to be able to run this over here. I got to prove it now.
Yeah, I think they're good. As long as you don't hit anything, I think you're going to do great. That yard, the hostler, getting it up and down, all the exercise you get in that too, that's going to be good too.
Yeah. And that, I'm looking forward to that for sure. Keeping my heart healthy, keeping my body healthy. Because so far, what I've heard about the trucker diet, even at school, I think somebody brought donuts in about every other day over there, and it starts to add up after a while.
That's pretty good. Spot on, dude. Oh man. So what was the job hunt like after school? Did they kind of provide you some tips as to where to go, or you kind of do that yourself?
Yeah. Actually, they did a really good job of, they had a bunch of different businesses come in, Schneider, Swift, PTI, the company I work for now, a couple other smaller ones in the area. And then they also, encourage us to ask questions related to like what we were looking for. So initially I was considering going regional, and, recruiters, I think the funny thing I learned about recruiters is, they're paid to get you in the door, and they're really trying to paint the best picture of their company and what's going on. And then going and researching, and then actually, talking to my friend Matt and some other drivers are like, they say that, but it's a little different. Like, so a couple of the companies said, oh yeah, we're going to have you home every weekend. We're going to get you home on Friday. But really, you're just getting home for your 34-hour reset, which is a lot different than, oh, I'm going to be home on Friday. I might be home on Saturday. Maybe I'm going to be home on Sunday, maybe leaving out on Sunday. That's a lot different than, you're getting home Saturday. You're home for 24 hours. You're home for a part of the day on Sunday, and then getting back on the road Sunday night so that you can hit it. I think that the recruiters do a good job of painting a shiny picture, but when you get them on the phone and ask the real questions, I think it's very different. One of the companies, I'm not gonna call them out too bad, but they said they had 37 drivers die last year. Once I got a recruiter on the phone, 37 drivers while driving for their company died on the road, and I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. I was surprised they would share that with me, but also surprised like they were like, yeah, come on over, come and work for us. We'll support you. I'm like, this doesn't sound like the right place.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, when you go into dispatch and they give you your assignment, they kind of talk to you like, don't you know what you got into? You're a truck driver. And a little bit of it's like, well, actually, I didn't really know what I was getting into.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're telling you one thing and then it's something different. So, me having the resource of Matt to fall back on, and then another family friend to, talk to about it. And then, actually getting to talk to the recruiters like one on one and being like, all right, what is this really? That was really helpful. But, deciding what you want to do for the job, like I was like willing to go regionally, which meant I was going to be on the road and probably gone all week and, back home for the 34-hour reset. My wife was supportive of that, but I could tell, in our conversations without her saying it, that that's not what she wanted. So I feel like I was very fortunate to find what I found locally. I'm 4 days on, I'm 4 days off. I can pick up overtime at any time I want. Getting paid pretty well for it. I got built-in overtime to each one of my shifts. Like, I feel very lucky that I found that, and my wife appreciates it as well. Like, I love her, and I would like to keep her in my life. I don't think going regionally or even over the road and being gone for that kind of time, that's going to kill a relationship. I mean, even if you have the best laid plan, like, life happens while you're making those plans. So, yeah, I think I think it was very important to, like, obviously include my wife in those discussions, but also really get to the root of what these recruiters are. I mean, the recruiters are paid to get you in the door. So ask the questions. And like I said, my school, they gave me a list of like 30 or 40 questions that I should ask. And then I formed some of my own. And I felt like my classmates were nervous to ask questions. So I just asked them all. I was like, I'm going to ask everything. What's the salary? What's the, what am I paid per mile? What is detention pay? Like, what is home time going to be like? What are the benefits? When do the benefits kick in? Like, stuff that's really important. Like, I think every new trucker needs to know that and needs to figure out what they want and actually how they can obtain it. And if the job is really going to give it to them, because, you could enter into something and in 2 weeks or 3 weeks be like, this isn't it. I need to find something better. But how about figure that out before you sign up for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, power pack there, man. That's the real talk. That's good. You're going to find out the answer one way or the other, up front,
Right.
or later the hard way. Yep. So, yeah. I mean, sometimes the pay is good getting in the truck, but is it worth it? And a lot of people say, well, you guys are paid really well. How come you're calling in? Well, the lifestyle is it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's a lot of factors that go into play. Like you say, you're considering your wife's feelings, and definitely, like you say, want to keep that relationship. You want to nurture it instead of damage it. That's huge, man. I'm proud of you for that, for standing up for your family and for yourself. So that's good. I was thinking about, is there anything you're still nervous about when you start in your career? Maybe something let's look ahead in the future. Anything that you're hesitant on?
Yeah, I think they always warn you about DOT inspections, and keeping your license clean, because really, I think that's the key. Like, say if I don't love my job, if I'm hitting, like, I get into a wreck at work, or I'm getting citations from not doing proper inspections and stuff like that, I think that's still kind of scary. I also think that, the fact that there is a very large company out there that admitted to having 37 drivers die. And I feel like, there's a lot of safety issues that could come up. So, like, those kind of things are still make me nervous, like, I'm a new driver, obviously, of the big equipment, is there a learning curve for me? And, the company is like, well, if you own up to it right away, we're going to support you. But is that true? Like, hopefully I don't have to experience that. But, that's still like kind of hanging over my head about it. I want to be a good, courteous, safe driver, but they also want me to move numbers, obviously in my position. Like, what happens if I have a bad day? What happens if I have an off day? What happens if I overestimate my abilities and get stuck like that Austin Power golf cart in between the hallway? Like, who's helping me? Who's supporting me in that? Like, what do I do? What do I do? And so I think about those things. I'm a constant worrier, unfortunately. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do my best to prevent those things. I'm going to try to remember the things I've been taught and kind of take it slow and easy. But I think about that. Like, I want to keep my license clean. And if I need to, or if I want to leave my company, be able to find another job that's going to, pay me well and, have a successful career in doing it.
That's awesome. I think that's just, that's the right feeling to have. Actually, it keeps you, it's a healthy fear. And you won't really know those answers. I know there's a DOT number on the side of the tractor that tells you the company's DOT number. You can research that and find out what they have. They tell you how many accidents they're involved in. You can get the CSA score and all that. You can research that. A lot of people don't realize that number on the side of the door is their window into what that company is has done and what their history record as to what they've done. So a lot of that information can be public knowledge too. So it's better that they don't hide it and that they are truthful about it and don't lie about the company's reputation. So, I mean, I think too, getting in those tight areas and wondering if the company's going to back you or not, that never goes away. That's going to be something too that you're always going to hope for the best, because like I said, you want to be a good truck driver, take your career serious. So I think that's going to always kind of loom over you as a truck driver. It's something that keeps you going, keeps you motivated to do the right thing. So I think you're right where you need to be. And I think you also had an experience that's worth sharing. I'm glad you came on the show to share that with a lot of other truck drivers out there or individuals that want to be truck drivers and want to go into the trucking industry. So I think you've done a good job. I think big ups to you. And I'm also from Matty G for supporting you and being there. He's a great guy. He helps me out a lot as well. I worked with him for years. So yeah, I mean, that's teamwork's what keeps making the dream work. We can't do none of this by ourselves. So even if you're new in the industry or if you're a veteran, I think it's helpful to learn from everybody. Veterans still need us to come on and help them with the workload. So these are good. I think this is a great conversation that we're able to have right now. So good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate coming on the show, sharing your story, and also for people listening out there right now, thinking about getting their CDL and hearing someone like yourself, someone who's just went through the process. It's very powerful. So your perspective is fresh, honest, and needed in the industry. So we always talk to the vets and the legends right out there, but new drivers are the future of trucking, and your journey just getting started is an important one to consider. So let's keep me posted on the future, how things turn out for you on the road. I like to stay in touch. So everyone out there listening, appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to the episode. Appreciate if you share it with someone who's thinking about getting into the trucking industry. And as always, keep rolling out there, stay learning, and that's delivered.
Exactly.
Are you a trucker looking for a safe and reliable place to park? Look no further than Truck Parking Club. With locations across the country, we've got the perfect spot waiting for you, whether it's daily or long-term parking. And right now, use promo code DELIVERED at checkout for an exclusive discount. Reserve your spot today at truckparkingclub.com and drive stress-free, knowing your parking is covered.